Hey everyone, today I'm going to start making the first cuts in building my dad's office. He's got an 11 foot by 11 foot room that I'm going to be building cabinets and desk space throughout about 2.5 walls of that, and then also create a desk that's about, let's say, 50-60 inches wide. I've got this image that I'm going to be going off of to make all the cuts and the measurements and everything, and then I've got this list of notes as well, so that way I don't lose track of anything. There's a lot going on in my head. I don't really spend a lot of time drawing out every single little picture and cabinet. I know exactly what needs to happen, so I'm just going to make the measurements and then cuts as I go. I don't really use AutoCAD at all. Honestly, don't even have it. Haven't used Google SketchUp. That honestly would take me more time to draw the pictures, to get the cut lists that way, than to just sit down and do the math and get it going. Already got a list of cuts that I'm going to be making for the plywood bases going around the room. Let's see how this process goes. Hopefully nothing goes too terribly wrong throughout the entire series. Going to be uploading a bunch of videos detailing each part of the process, so we'll see how this goes. Thanks. I began by ripping down sheets of plywood for what would be the base layer. Then, while using the same width plywood, I cut 11 dividers that were going to be going vertically throughout the office. Now it was time to cut the base layers down to length. While I was at the table saw, I decided to go ahead and cut a 3-inch pedestal that was going to go underneath the base layers. I wanted to make these cabinets as continuous as possible, so I decided to put some pieces together. Right now you're looking at the corner piece that would be section C7, C8, C9, C10, and C11 in the southeast corner, just using some pocket holes and some glue to join the pieces together. Now this next piece would be the chunk C4 and C5 in the northeast corner of the office, using the same method. With my handy dandy router dado jig, it was time to cut some dados in the base pieces where the vertical dividers and supports would be going. Because this dado was in the corner of my base piece, I had to take half of the router jig off and then just use it on both sides. This C1, C2 chunk was the only one I could pre-assemble before I brought it to my dad's house, because it's the only one that was straight and that would actually fit through the door. I drilled some pocket holes in the bottom of this base piece because that end divider right there is going to be visible, so I wanted to make sure it was a continuous piece of wood from the top all the way down to the floor. While I was waiting for the glue to dry for those dividers, I decided to go ahead and put the pedestal on the front of that unit. Now it was time to put the nailer strip on the back side. I made these kind of tall because I was going to run some cables across the front of them later on. Now it was time to cut the face frame. I'm using some wide boards here because I need some overhang on one of the side pieces of the face frame, and then also the bottom of the face frame is going to be going almost down to the floor to accept a trim piece that's going to be added on later after the install. I was very fortunate to have a special guest here on this video today. Say hi. Hi. Say hi. Huh? Say, who is that? Who is that? Now it was time to assemble the face frame. This is the face frame for the section C1 and C2, so it's about 54 inches long. Using just a little bit of glue and some pocket holes, I screwed it together. Now it was time to attach the face frame to the carcass. I'm using some glue here and then a brad nailer, and if you notice on the left side, that's the top of the unit, I've got about a 3/4 inch overhang to accept a sub-top later. Now it's time to start the face frame for the desk. I skipped a bunch of video before this because all it was the same thing, making base cuts, dados, and then face frames for the other sections, which was the exact same as C1 and C2. I made the face frames for the desk first because I had some really precise measurements that I wanted to make sure I had with the face frame before I assembled the carcass later. I made 4 of these face frames total, 2 for the front and back of the left column and 2 for the front and back of the right column. Now it was time to make the carcasses for the desk files. These pieces I'm cutting at about 26 inches wide, or if you're looking at the front of the desk, it would be 26 inches deep. Since these desk files were going to be so deep, I put a divider 18 inches from the front, so that way you could have files in the front and then a shelving unit in the back. Now it's time to assemble the file columns. The side closest to the camera would be the back side of these files. My dad wanted a small compartment in between the desk files, kind of towards the back of the desk, so that way he could conceal some cables that would be coming down from his computer. I decided to use half of my router dado jig on this, so that way I could see exactly where my stopping points would be. I think I made just about all the cuts to get ready for phase 1 of the installation. Phase 1 will be installing the carcasses and building the rest of them up. Some of them were a little bit too big to fit through the door, so I had to measure exactly each of the individual pieces, the base, the pedestal, the face frame, and then the nailer strip at the back, and then also the sub top that's going to go on top as well. So all those pieces are sitting behind me, getting ready to be put together and assembled inside my dad's office. Hopefully I didn't mess up too bad or mismeasure too bad. Good thing is I don't live too far from my dad, so that way if I forget anything or need to make some new cuts or get some new plywood, I don't live too far, so that's good. Stay tuned for progress or more progress on the rest of the installation process. I'll be posting some more videos soon. Hope you guys enjoyed the first part. Hopefully you'll see a little bit more in this next part when I start to build up the carcasses. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll check in with you guys soon. Bye.